The Galactic Council chamber fell silent when Ambassador of the species rose from his seat. His ancient body, covered in scales that had witnessed the birth and death of countless stars, trembled slightly. Every representative in the room knew what this meant. The never spoke at council meetings. They had not spoken in over 40,000 years. "We must discuss the humans," said, his voice like wind passing through dead trees. A wave of confused murmurs spread through the chamber. The humans. They were barely a spacefaring species. They had only discovered faster-than-light travel 300 years ago. They were young, primitive, and insignificant compared to the great empires that controlled the galaxy. Representative of the syndicate leaned forward with curiosity. His species had lived for 2 million years and had conquered entire star systems. Yet even he showed respect when he spoke. They were the oldest known species in existence. They had watched galaxies collide. They had seen the first stars form from cosmic dust. Their civilization was already ancient when most current species were still single-celled organisms floating in primordial oceans. "What about the humans?" asked carefully. His deep purple eyes swept across the chamber. "I must explain why my people avoid their world, why we have drawn a line around their solar system that none of our ships will cross. The younger species have asked this question for centuries. Today, I will answer." The chamber became completely still. Even the environmental system seemed to quiet down, as if the building itself wanted to hear this ancient being's words. 4 billion years ago, began, my ancestors discovered Earth. It was a young planet then, covered in boiling oceans and volcanic mountains. Life had just begun there. Simple organisms floated in the hot water, struggling to survive in the harsh conditions. We studied them with scientific interest, nothing more. We had seen millions of planets like this. We expected nothing unusual. He paused, and something that looked like fear crossed his ancient face. "We were wrong." Walked slowly to the center of the chamber. His movements were careful, as if every step carried the weight of impossible memories. "We returned to Earth every 100 million years. We watched life develop there. We saw creatures rise and fall. We witnessed extinction events that killed almost everything on the surface. Asteroids struck the planet. Ice covered the continents. The atmosphere changed. Oceans dried up and filled again. Each time we expected to find Earth lifeless. Each time we found life not only surviving but growing stronger, more diverse, more determined." "Many planets have resilient life," Representative interrupted. "This is not unusual." Turned to face him. The ancient alien's expression made shrink back in his chair. "You do not understand. Let me tell you what we found 65 million years ago." The chamber's holographic display activated, showing images of prehistoric Earth. Giant reptiles walked across the surface. Flying creatures filled the skies. The dominant species at this time were massive reptiles. They had ruled Earth for over 100 million years. They were beginning to show signs of intelligence. Given another few million years, they might have developed civilization. They might have become a peaceful, reasonable species that we could communicate with. The hologram shifted to show an asteroid approaching the planet. Then the great impact occurred. An asteroid 10 kilometers wide struck Earth. The explosion was enormous. Dust blocked the sun for years. Temperatures dropped. Food chains collapsed. 75% of all species died, including almost all the large reptiles. "We know this history," another representative said impatiently. His voice became cold. "Do you know what replaced them?" The hologram changed to show small furry creatures emerging from underground burrows. Mammals, small, frightened creatures that had hidden in the shadows for millions of years. They should have remained minor animals. Instead, they exploded across the planet. They evolved at a speed we had never seen before. In just 65 million years, they produced humans. Let that sink in before continuing. Do you understand what I am saying? 65 million years is nothing. It is less than 1% of 1% of galactic history. Yet in that tiny moment, Earth produced a species that learned to split atoms, that sent machines to other worlds, that began to reach for the stars. He walked back to his seat but did not sit down. My people spent billions of years becoming what we are. We evolved slowly, carefully, peacefully. We learned to live in harmony with our environment. We developed technology through patient research spanning millions of years. The humans did all of this in mere thousands of years. They went from cave dwellers to nuclear weapons in less time than it takes for a child to reach adulthood. The chamber was completely silent now. "But this is not what frightens us," said softly. "Speed alone does not explain why we avoid their world." He touched a control panel, and the hologram changed again. It showed Earth's timeline of mass extinction events. 5 times in Earth's history, life was almost completely destroyed. 5 times, something wiped out most living things on the planet. Asteroids, volcanoes, climate change, ocean chemistry shifts. Any one of these events should have ended Earth's story forever. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. Instead, each extinction event made life stronger. After each catastrophe, evolution accelerated. New species emerged faster and more capable than before. It was as if the planet was being forged, tempered like metal in a fire. Each disaster removed the weak and left only the strong to reproduce. Representative spoke again, his voice uncertain now. "You are saying Earth is some kind of training ground?" Nodded slowly. "We believe so. We do not know who or what designed it. We do not know if it was intentional or accidental, but we have observed the pattern too many times to ignore it. Earth does not just support life. Earth creates survivors. It creates fighters. It creates beings that will not stop, will not surrender, will not accept defeat no matter what the universe throws at them." He finally sat down, his old bones creaking. "And the humans are its latest creation, its most perfect creation." A syndicate general named laughed nervously. "You fear the humans. They are primitive. Their weapons are toys compared to ours. We could destroy their entire planet in hours." Looked at the general with something like pity. 300 years ago, humans discovered faster-than-light travel. In that time, they have spread to 47 worlds. They have survived 3 wars with other species. They lost 2 of those wars. They lost their colonies, their ships, their people. Each time, other species assumed humanity was finished. The hologram showed images of destroyed human colonies, burning cities, millions dead. Each time they came back stronger. After their first defeat, they rebuilt their fleet in 12 years. Their ships were faster, their weapons more powerful. After their second defeat, they developed entirely new technology that even we do not fully understand. They turned their defeats into fuel for growth. They learned from every enemy. They adapted, improved, and returned. His voice became heavy with ancient wisdom. "This is what Earth creates. Beings that grow stronger through suffering. Beings that refuse to break no matter how much pressure you apply. Beings that look at extinction and see it as a challenge to overcome." He stood again, facing the entire council. "We have lived for 4 billion years by being careful, by avoiding conflict, by choosing peace over war. We have survived because we recognize danger and we stay away from it. And I am telling you now, with all the weight of our ancient knowledge, that humanity is the most dangerous thing this galaxy has ever produced." "But they are so young," someone protested weakly. "Exactly," replied. "They are infants. They have had their civilization for only 10,000 years. They have had technology for only a few hundred. Imagine what they will become in 1,000,000 years. Imagine what they will become in 100 million years. Imagine what happens when a species forged by constant disaster, a species that feeds on adversity, a species that becomes stronger through every struggle, reaches its full potential." He looked directly at the syndicate general, who had laughed earlier. "You say you could destroy their planet. Perhaps you could, but you would not kill them. You would only make them angry. You would give them a new enemy to overcome. You would become the next extinction event that makes them stronger. The general's face had gone pale. My people learned this lesson 200 years ago, continued. A small group of humans landed on one of our outer worlds. There was a misunderstanding. Violence occurred. We killed 17 humans before they retreated. His voice became quiet again. Within one generation, humans had developed weapons specifically designed to pierce our shields. They had studied our biology and created diseases that only affected our species. They had trained soldiers who knew our tactics, our weaknesses, our fears. They had built an entire military doctrine around defeating us. Scales shifted color, showing stress. We never attacked them. We never threatened them. That one small incident, that one group of 17 dead humans, was enough to make their entire species prepare for war against us. They did not forget. They did not forgive. They prepared. "What did you do?" Representative asked. "We apologized. We paid reparations. We signed treaties promising eternal peace. And we drew our boundary line. We declared their entire solar system forbidden territory. We removed all records of their location from our public databases. We did everything possible to ensure that no would ever give humans a reason to see us as enemies again." Looked around the chamber one final time. The young species in this galaxy see humanity's short history and assume they are weak. You see their small empire and assume they are insignificant. You see their primitive technology and assume they are not a threat. But my people have watched them for 4 billion years. We have seen what they come from. We have seen what they survive. We have seen how they grow. He moved toward the exit. Earth is not just a planet. It is a forge. And humanity is the weapon that forge has created. They have not yet been tempered by the fires of galactic war. They have not yet faced true extinction. When they do, they will emerge harder than diamond and sharper than light. He stopped at the doorway and spoke his final words. The oldest species in this galaxy avoids Earth because we know what happens to those who try to break what that world creates. We know the darker secret that lies beneath humanity's smile and their outstretched hands of friendship. Beneath their kindness is 4 billion years of survival. Beneath their peace is an endless capacity for war. Beneath their youth is something ancient and terrible, something forged in fire and death and catastrophe. His voice echoed through the suddenly cold chamber. Humanity does not fear extinction. They were born from it. And anything that tries to destroy them will only make them more powerful. This is why we stay away. This is why you should too. The door closed behind him, and the Galactic Council sat in stunned silence, reconsidering everything they thought they knew about the small blue planet called Earth and the strange, resilient creatures who called it home. The war with humanity never came. The Council made sure of it, because now they understood the truth that they had learned over billions of years. Some species could be conquered. Some species could be destroyed. But some species were forged so perfectly for survival that the only winning move was never to play at all. Humanity continued to spread across the stars, friendly and curious and full of hope, never knowing that the oldest beings in the universe watched them with a mixture of awe and primal fear, keeping their distance, protecting their children, and praying to whatever gods ancient species still believed in that humanity would never have a reason to see them as enemies. The darker secret of Earth was not some hidden weapon or ancient power. The darker secret was simpler and more terrifying than that. The darker secret was that humanity was not finished evolving. They were still being forged, and the universe had not yet seen what they would become.